Get ready for a blockbuster week in American politics, folks. It is a week that could change the entire landscape of the 2024 presidential election. On Wednesday, the Supreme Court is set to release a new round of opinions. There are 14 cases left to decide, including Donald Trump's immunity claim to get him out of legal trouble for trying to steal an election. Then on Thursday, President Biden and Trump will meet for their first presidential debate of the 2024 race. Ooh, it feels like deja vu because, and I think for a lot of voters, it is. Oh, and don't forget about tomorrow because it also marks 2 years since the Supreme Court gutted the right for women to make choices about their own bodies. Joining us now to discuss it all is Democratic Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware. She is co-chair of the Biden-Harris campaign and a U.S. Senate candidate. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Congresswoman. It's great to have you here at the table on a Sunday morning. Countdown to debate and really, I think in some sense, the official kickoff of this campaign season. I think voters, even at the beach, are going to tune in a little bit at that Delaware beach.
I think so.
Well, the Delmarva, a little bit of Maryland, a little bit of Delaware.
Yeah, but
right?
Let's not go into the competition between our beaches because we know who's best.
Here we go. Throwing down early.
Alicia, the Maryland corner is getting out of hand today because it doesn't met Delaware, okay?
Well, you know, this is how it is. So, but I'd like to begin the conversation a little bit about Trump taking credit for what he's done for our community, Hispanic community. Let's take a listen to him in Philadelphia on Saturday.
I will tell you, they're taking African-American jobs and Hispanic-American jobs. You know who else they're really affecting? The unions. And I have to tell you, we have a lot of Teamsters here. Do we have a lot of Teamsters? We have Teamsters, and I think we're doing 89% or something with the Teamsters.
Okay. Make heads or tails of that for us. I mean, it's always a word salad with him, and taking credit for things that he has, nothing to do with. Saying he's got support from communities he does not. Right. How do you, deal with that? How do we position this at the beginning of this election?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, it's clear that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have been historic in the efforts that they made for the country as a whole. Mm-hmm. But also when you look at, Black Americans in this country, we've seen investments in HBCUs that we've never seen before, $16 billion. We've seen a focus on maternal mortality, particularly when we know that we are most impacted. As Black women, we are 3 times more likely to die because of maternal mortality. When you look at the growth in Black businesses and Latino businesses, on almost every single indicator, this administration has delivered. And I think, when you think about what Donald Trump says and who he focuses on, it isn't all of us. Mm-hmm. It's some of us. I mean, from day one. And, as someone who has served under both presidents, I know the difference. I've seen the difference. I've seen the difference in what they've done and how they do it. I mean, we have been demonized by the former president. And so, to me, I think it's maybe politically expeditious to say these things, but where the rubber hits the road, we know who has fought for the issues, even student debt relief. I mean, that is a big one. And I talk, sometimes about, as I was coming into the Capitol one day, a Black gentleman, Capitol police officer, knocked on my window, had me roll down the window. I thought he was going to look, in the car to see, did he need any help to see my ID? And he said, I want you to know that my wife is a teacher. She's been a teacher for decades now. We could not get from under this student loan debt. And he said, I want you to tell Joe. He didn't say the president.
No, he said Joe.
He said, I want you to tell Joe. I said, thank you. Thank you. And so
her student loan debt was forgiven, his wife's.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think, there are a lot of polls out there, but what I'm hearing from people is that this is a president who has been transformational in their lives. Even environmental justice, an issue that I work on. We've seen a real focus on this in this administration. And so I think, there's a song you might remember from back in the day by this group, Black Sheep, you can get with this or you can get with that. Mm-hmm. you can get with the one that has actually delivered, and that's Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden.
If only we had clearance for that as our bump music on the way out, Congresswoman. Jazz up this show. You know, I think part of what's going to be interesting about this coming Thursday is actually being able to see them side by side. And in the absence of that, I want you to listen to two different things that have happened in the past few days. The first is Donald Trump yesterday in Philadelphia talking about how he believes there should be a UFC migrant fight, and then contrast that with what we heard from President Biden at the White House talking about immigrants who already live in this country. Take a listen.
I said, Dana, I have an idea for you to make a lot of money. You're going to go and start a new migrant fight league. Migrants, only migrants. And then at the end of the year, the champion migrant is going to fight your champion. And I hate to tell you, Dana, I think the migrant might win. That's how tough they are. This is not a normal situation. This is not, oh, isn't it wonderful, these wonderful people.
Look, the Statue of Liberty is not some relic of American history. It still stands for who we are. We can both secure the border and provide legal pathways to citizenship. We have to acknowledge that the patience and goodwill of the American people is being tested by their fears at the border. They don't understand a lot of it. These are the fears my predecessor is trying to play on when he says immigrants, and his words are poison the blood of the country.
Congresswoman, it's not like living in two different countries. It's like living on two different planets. And it's so obvious to me what is happening, which is Republicans, Donald Trump, they know that providing protections for immigrants who've been in this country for over a decade, who are married to U.S. citizens, is incredibly politically popular across the political spectrum. So they don't want to talk about that. He wants to talk about cage fighting, which is cruel and insane and a million other things. But his entire purpose is to distract.
Totally. I mean, you know, back to what I said about demonizing people, making caricatures of people, where Joe Biden is a person of good character and actually, again, is uplifting all of the American people. I mean, even the subject that he talks about, Joe Biden looks at real practical ways to deal with immigration, to deal with securing our border. Well, you have the former president who, again, it's a joke. And for so many people in this country right now, this is no time for joking. This is serious business. And it's also an issue of humanity. You know, you wonder where is, you know, Donald Trump's humanity in all of this. I mean, I think about immigration reform. I think about the fact that we as Democrats have put forward real proposals. And if Republicans are serious about it, because we know this has historically been a bipartisan issue, then they would come together and do something. Ultimately, it truly is a contrast of what is a Donald Trump administration and what is a Joe Biden administration, who cares for some of the people and who cares for all of the people.
You know, the campaign is out with a memo this morning by Michael Tyler that makes that very point, that talks about, in the lead up to the debate this week, that the campaign will be putting a magnifying glass on the contrast between the two candidates. There's a lot happening, right? We mentioned it in the open. Donald Trump may potentially pick his vice president this week. We might know who it is. He told NBC News at a campaign stop. He was asked at a Philadelphia campaign stop about it and whether he's decided, and he responded, in my mind, yeah. I guess that means, Michael, he knows. Maybe he'll let us know. Yeah. And he said most likely it'll be at Thursday's debate against Joe Biden, where it will be announced. You, the last time there was an election where a Democratic candidate had to pick their vice president, you were on that selection committee. So many issues on the forefront, Congresswoman. What are you hoping to see in this debate on Wednesday, understanding that this is also the anniversary of Roe versus Wade? If that vice presidential pick comes out, are you concerned if there's anybody that's going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Vice President Harris? All the things.
Well, first of all, I don't think anybody's going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Vice President Harris. I mean, she has been an incredible part of this legacy of this administration. You know, her focus on making sure that she did the opportunity tour and showing some of the real opportunities that we have in this country and highlighting opportunities for economic growth and development. She's focused on our reproductive freedoms, and I am very excited to see what she does as we get closer to, you know, maybe potential debates on a VP piece. But I think the reality is, again, you've got two different visions for this country. One is to take us backwards, and the other is to move us forward. And so what I think you will see on the debate stage is a President, Joe Biden, who's going to talk about just the historic things we've been able to do, whether it's the environment, whether it's our infrastructure, building safer communities, protecting Social Security and Medicare. And then you're going to see somebody who wants to cut taxes for the very wealthy, on day one, roll back all of the advances we've made on climate, on day one, be a dictator. These are his own words. And so I think in this debate, what you will see is what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have done, but also what we can together do to move this country in the future.